Hola, ¿qué tal? Soy Dani Mantilla y estamos aquí en Kinótico en San Sebastián, en un espacio posible gracias al apoyo de ICEX España Exportación e Inversiones y financiado por la Unión Europea, Next Generation, Plan de Recuperación, Gobierno de España. En este set estamos entrevistando a talento nacional e internacional en colaboración con Fred Film Radio, como por ejemplo Laura Carreira, directora de Unfalling, que es una película que compite por la Concha de Oro. I want to ask you, Laura, about your connection with this story, because the leading character is a Portuguese woman who went to Scotland, as you did. How personal is this story for you?
I mean, I think it definitely speaks of those first years when I moved to Scotland. I think, the experience of a migrant is like quite particular. And I think it was also for me, it coincided with the time when I was 18, so I moved to Scotland, got my first job, so it was like a very particular time where I was discovering a lot about the world. And I think it was definitely that my first job in Scotland that really made me kind of look at the world slightly different. And I also think as a migrant, you experience vulnerability in a much more kind of close to the skin way. So that to me, it was kind of important to try and put these feelings into this film. So yeah, a little bit of it is definitely my own story, and then a lot of the information as well that is in the film was shared by pickers, so people that I interviewed and I spoke to about the job that they did, and a lot of these conversations influenced the script for sure.
Sometimes films have like a scene that sets everything. For me, this one is the job interview. I think you can put someone this scene and get what Unfalling is about. Is the same for you?
Yeah, I think it's that question in the interview, isn't it? That is the question, that is the thing that seems such a simple question, and that character really struggles to answer it at the time. And I think that was a little bit how I felt about, my relationship to work. It's like if we spend our entire lives, trying to get by in a job that is just, giving you enough to keep on going, then who are you, and are you free to create your own identity, free from that job? I think that's something I'm still not sure.
I think it's really a current theme, like do you live to work or do you work to live?
Yeah.
When did Ken Loach start entering the picture?
So I think it was after my first short. I was just about to start writing my next short and my feature, so I kind of went along and decided I'm going to write the first draft of the feature because I wanted to do it. And then at that point, I think they had seen my shorts, and I was speaking with BBC Films, and they introduced me to Jack Thomas O'Brien, my producer. And I think at that point I could already share, my script with them.
Yeah.
They had seen the shorts, they liked my work, and then once I got to share the first draft, I think they kind of immediately connected with it. And, from then on, it was just like all the conversations we were having, we could feel we had a similar way of viewing the world. And so, I think it was pretty clear, immediately that we could work together.
And what kind of feedback did he give to you?
I think at the time it was just they really liked the first draft. And I think they were mainly interested in finding out how I wanted to develop it further. But, very much from the beginning, they were very supportive in me being able to do the film in the way that I wanted to do it. And in that sense, they were very trusting in me wanting to do it this way, which was really nice. So their feedback, I don't recall a specific feedback that they gave me. They were mainly wanting me to do it in the way that I believed it was right. Yeah.
Sometimes I feel, even with people with a left political view, that they are too cynical with social cinema. It happens to Ken Loach, it happens to the Dardennes and Nadine Lavaki, many filmmakers. Do you agree with that? Are we? Because I feel
what do you mean by cynical?
We are tougher with political films than non-political films, or maybe right-wing political films.
Yeah. I mean, to a degree, every film is political, I think. It just depends if you're aware of the message that you're, if you're representing the world, you're representing the world in a way. If you choose to not film a character at work, that's a choice that you're making. So to me, every film is political. If we're more cynical, maybe it's just I don't know, maybe we just look at it with a lot more criticism, potentially. But I'm not sure. I mean,
Sometimes I miss when people in cinemas don't talk about how much things cost. We don't talk about money.
Yeah, I always had that, when I got my first job, I remember just realizing how hard it was to get a week off. you know, and I just made me think of like road movies where all the characters just decide to go off on a holiday and they go. And you're like, oh no, that in my life, I would need to like, you know, weeks in advance. This would need a lot of planning. So yeah, it feels like characters in a lot of movies are a lot more spontaneous and they seem to have a lot more freedom of choice than, you know, I don't know, in my life and the people around me, you know. So that to me, I think is also important for us to represent and to portray in films, for sure, yeah.
Was important for you not to go too far, to be a little hopeful about the future, even if you are perfectly aware of how the world is running?
I think there's a lot of hope to be had. Like, I truly believe that, you know, I almost think, you know, this system, the economic system that we live in, can only keep running because we are being good to each other and we're helping each other out. Because I think if we stop doing that, I don't think the system would have been able to continue the way that has. So I really think that there's a lot of goodness in people, and that to me was really important to bring into the film. You know, I didn't want the film to be cynical about human nature, for example. That felt like really important to preserve. Yeah.
It's impossible not to think about Amazon when you watch the film. How was the documentation process for that?
So I spoke to several pickers from different companies, and these conversations influenced the film a lot. You know, the scene of the chocolate bar, that was someone who told me, you know, sometimes the reward is a chocolate bar, and they felt more insulted almost by that gesture than, you know, no gift at all. It would have almost been better. And then a few others, you know, the time when she says the laundry, this was something that I asked someone, you know, after you leave work, because for me it was also important to see what people did in their free time. So not just, you know, the routines of that job, but also what does their life look like outside of this job. And someone answered, I do the laundry. And that to me felt, you know, so, you know, these people, you know, they're working 10-hour shifts on an average of like 50-hour work weeks, really physically demanding jobs, you know, with little security, with wages that are just above minimum wage. And it's just like, you know, of course it's really hard. You know, you get home and you're tired and you can't have a social life, you know, and all these aspects really permeated the film. Yeah. You're
already working your second film. Can you tell anything about it?
So it's still going to be about work, but I'm going to go into the office space. And yeah, it's going to be about Catherine. This is my main character, and it's someone who's doing an office job, and that is also trying to figure out how to define her life through this job. So I feel it's almost like a slight continuation of the work I've been doing up until now.
I want to see that.
Nice, thank
I
you.
filming wants to know who or what filmmaker, actor are you thankful for in your relationship with cinema?
I mean, I would have to thank the very first filmmaker that made me really want to make films, which was John Cassavetes. I discovered his work when I was a teenager. Mini Moscovitz. That was the first film I've seen of his, and it kind of opened the horizon to what cinema could be. And I think it influenced me a lot from the start, you know, and it's still films, his films are still films I go back to and that I learn from today. So yeah, I have to thank him because I think he was the first. You know, many other filmmakers have influenced me since, but I think he was that first one for sure.
That's cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congrats on your first movie.
Thank you so much.
And have fun in San Sebastián.
I will. Thank you so much.
Seguimos con más entrevistas en Kinótico.es, la primera con K, la segunda con C.